Hello there, Qckslvrslash here, and today we have a video courtesy of Sir Blemington Smith, and it's in the Tier 7 German battleship, the Gneisenau. And this is a pretty good ship. I think the Scharnhorst is better, but I've said that many times. The one advantage that this has as a Tier 7 ship over a couple of the others, like the Colorado or Nagato, are A, torpedoes, and B, speed. But it lacks a bit of that gun power, and the guns do at times seem awfully inaccurate. That said, she's a good ship, and in the right hands, very capable. I do find with these German battleships, though, you do have to play intelligently. That speed can get you in trouble. And where the Nagato and Colorado just seem to have that ability to punch their way and brawl out of trouble, really in these German ones, once you get yourself into trouble, your only real option is to just continue to charge in and try to get torpedoes off. Or at least that's the way it seems at times. You don't have that raw ability to kind of erase ships in the same way. Now right off the bat, pretty typical start here. Most of Blemington's team is heading up to Charlie, and you can see 3 or 4 ships, actually 5 ships from the enemy team, or even 6, are pushing into Charlie. That's a good number, and it probably means they're actually more or less going for an even split. But generally what you'd expect is 3 or 4 enemy ships, mostly destroyers, trying to sneak into Charlie and capture it. Meanwhile, a couple of your destroyers go to Alpha and try to capture it, but the bulk of the team, goes one way. So in my experience, the bulk of the southern team goes up to the north here. And a big reason for that in my mind is, A, you've got some good cover further back, so it's hard for that north team to really rush you. There's a big opening to cover. And then B, once you get rid of what's at C, you've got some good cover leading into B. Now the first target here is going to be a Graf Spee, it looks like. The guns have fired, and the dispersion's not looking too great. 1 shell hits. A stationary target at 14 kilometers, and that's kind of why the Gneisenau can bug me at times, is like a couple of the German battleships, its aim just seems a little troll. You'd expect a little more. Hopefully this second volley goes a little better. That Graf Spee quickly running out of health. These ones are looking much better. Nice meaty 7,000 damage, and the friendly Bayern finishes them off. So both teams, well, they're pretty much tied. You can see one of Sir Blemington's teammates was nuked side on at the middle of the map, probably by that enemy Fuso at New Mexico. That's okay, because there's a side on York. Nice easy target. Hasn't eaten any damage yet. He can't turn away. Blemington gets a Citadel, 15,000 damage there, and the torpedoes force that York to kind of just keep driving in a straight line. If he wanted to turn, he would have eaten extra damage. And those are one of the really interesting ways that destroyers can have an effect on a battle. Maybe you're not getting the damage, but by getting ships to turn in a certain way and steering them into a fleet, you can really kill an enemy player without having to touch them yourself. And speaking of destroyer, here is a Nebny, but interestingly, I would expect torpedoes to have already been in the water. So maybe that Nebny hasn't reloaded yet, and they're kind of just charging in, and they run themselves aground. There's the torpedoes. Looks like he was charging at the Fuso, and, well, he gets a really good hit here, and you can see Blemington just kind of letting his secondaries try to do the work. And he's got his main guns ready, but he doesn't shoot. So I think he was hoping his secondaries would get a kill there. Instead, the Dunkirk finishes them off, and now they're left 3 battleships to chase down this enemy Bismarck. Blemington sends his first volley off, a bit of dispersion there in those shells, and one hits the bow and ricochets. But The Bismarck doesn't get any hits in return, so no harm, no foul. And the big thing you still have to worry about here is, where is that Akatsuki? It was last seen in Bravo, but with the Tirpitz now sailing into Bravo and actively capping it, it's safe to say that DD is somewhere else, and more than likely went out on the flank with the Nevny. And you can see Blemington has slowed down, chopped his speed to about half there, and is turning a bit, kind of continuously adjusting his speed and course, and that's really all you can do when there's a destroyer out there. The first part of dodging torps is just knowing the DD is somewhere near you. Because if you do your job right, you don't even ever have to dodge them, because they're so far away from your ship, you just keep sailing wherever you are. And, well, there they are. They completely missed Blemington, though based on that lead, I don't know that they could ever hit him. And the Dunkirk in behind dodges them all as well. So that Akatsuki is 0 for 1. Let's see how this goes, as Blemington does almost 4,000 damage to that Fuso there. And at this point, they've scared the enemy out of Charlie. So we're at, what, 13.5 minutes left in the game. Charlie could easily be captured. They still do hold Alpha and Bravo, though, so they're up on the caps, and they're making some points. But while the enemy team was almost bluffed out of going into A by that Farragut and just a pair of cruisers, they've kind of finally realized, it seems, that there's not a whole heck of a lot down at Alpha to defend it, and that enemy Bajoni is getting in there to take the cap. And here we are again. Friendly Tirpitz is back into Charlie. The Dunkirk is sailing in as well. So hopefully they're going to get it, because A is lost. That Bajoni on the enemy team is going to get this cap, as another set of Akatsuki torpedoes safely sail past, completely missing. That really shows the strength of just adjusting your speed when there's destroyers about. That Akatsuki has probably been guessing a bit as to what Blemington is doing, and as a result, not really landing anything big. And C is getting captured, or at least it looks like it now. The Fuso, his guns are facing away. This is a free shot, perfectly side on. Blemington adjusts, fires. Oh, a couple of these are looking decent. One Citadel, one penetration, 15,000 damage. You'll take that. That's a solid hit. Half of that again, and the Fuso will be gone. And this is what's really going to piss me off for the rest of this battle. The Tirpitz and the Dunkirk both sail out. Blemington has to do a bit of dodging this time. He was still accelerating there, but easily enough, at least. Ducks under those torpedoes, doesn't eat any of them, and can start thinking about this Fuso again. Almost got him there. One more hit like that should be enough to seal this Fuso's fate. And the fire from the secondaries is what gets him. So now we're in a situation where, okay, Flemington's team has the kill lead, and they've got the points lead, but no one is going into Charlie. And I just don't get that. It's almost like everyone's kind of going, okay, it's time to kill things. We've got a small lead. Let's just go for kills. I don't know what they're thinking. They're not saying anything in chat. And you can see Blemington just kind of peeking around, seeing what's around him. This enemy Gade appears to be the next kind of target of opportunity, and there's some more Akatsuki torps. Looks like this time he decides, I don't need to shoot at Blemington because he's dodged them all. I'll go for the Dunkirk, except the Dunkirk dodges them all. So that Akatsuki really hasn't had that big an impact yet. The only real impact is the fact that the cap he took at the start of the game is still theirs, and the points are closing in. It may seem like 200 is a big differential now, and they did just get another kill. That helped boost it. But looking about, that Ranger's on low health. The Algerie is on low health. And then again, the enemy Gneisenau is on low health. So it's possible to keep this lead going, but I really don't feel they will. You can see enemy bombers over the friendly ranger. If they hit, that's probably the ranger's game. The Bajoni is chasing that Algerie, and it doesn't take much to really lose a point lead. And you can see already it's down to 100. It was at 200 points less than a minute ago, and now the gap is only 100. And Blemington does the smart thing here. Turns around, he's going to get himself into a cap. I think some people would be tempted to just continue charging out. You know, they're not in a terrible situation. They lost the Ranger, but it's 4 battleships and a cruiser versus, what, a destroyer, 2 cruisers, a battleship, and a carrier. Should be easy enough, except, well, there goes the Algerie. And now they're behind and down on caps. Fortunately, Blemington did get turned around and is going to capture Charlie. That's big. And that enemy Bajoni just took a big hit and looks to be burning, so his night is probably done as well. And you can see Blemington's still just looking around, kind of making sure he knows where the gaps are around him, because the last thing you want to do right here is eat a whole broadside of torpedoes and end it. But you can see to the north, the planes do have a set spotted. Those are the Aqksuks, so it's safe to say the Aqksuki is somewhere up to the north. And, well, Blemington's team has got a lead again. It's 4 on 4. 4 battleships versus 1 of everything. This should be an easy enough game to come out of. But you can see the Tirpitz, well, he was on low health and just sank. And that enemy New Mexico is on almost full health. And right behind the New Mexico is a Qckslvrslash. So the Bayern, I think, is doing kind of the smart thing. He's closing in on that New Mexico, maybe going for the ram, but he's playing a little aggressive here. He's got a Dunkirk behind him for support, and the pair of them should be able to work that Qckslvrslash down. But the Qckslvrslash does have smoke, and if he manages to disappear into a smoke or behind the edge of land, a full health New Mexico can stick around for a heck of a long time and do spotting for Qckslvrslash, who will just hide in smoke and shell the ever-living crap out of whatever it can. And you can see that Bayern did land a really solid hit into the New Mexico, but the New Mexico did the same thing in return. And, well, now it's a Dunkirk versus New Mexico. And, well, a Dunkirk and Sir Blemington Smith. A great hit there, 5,800 damage, taking another good chunk away, but you can see the Qckslvrslash has managed to disappear. He comes back out, and there is the smoke. And this is where things get really dangerous. It's 2 on 4. If this Dunkirk goes down, Sir Blemington Smith is in contention for a solo warrior. That's if they don't take out this New Mexico first, and unfortunately one of the main guns there heating a bunch of the damage, but he incapacitates it. And you can see who the enemy team has decided is the first target to focus, and that is the Dunkirk. And it makes sense. The Dunkirk has thinner armor, was on lower health, and is closer to more targets. The saving grace here is Blemington's team caught Charlie, or I should say Blemington got Charlie. They got the cap 4 or 5 minutes later than they should have. Blemington got in there about 9 minutes left. At 13 minutes, they were in the cap capturing it, and they just sailed straight out. And that point difference is really hurting Blemington now. He's continuing to try to chase down this New Mexico. He's taking, or he's going to start taking, a beating from the Qckslvrslash in the smoke. And you can see the Aqksuki has gotten into Bravo. Now, hopefully the carrier doesn't pose too big a risk. The Gneisenau and the Scharnhorst both have, or can both have, some pretty great AA if you've built them that way. And right here, you can see Bleminton has decided, I need to deal with this Qckslvrslash. He was watching for a while, watching for the shells, and there goes the smoke. His guns are ready, and those look good. A decent hit, 3,800. Come on, get that rear turret around. You need the kills here, buddy. And that Qckslvrslash has some pretty decent torpedoes and is inside of range. I'd be all over my repair party, just like Bleminton is. Get as much of that health back. There's the kill shot. Come on, yes. Secondaries have to finish him off, but he's done. And you've got to be worried about torps here, both from the Akatsuki and from the Qckslvrslash. He's lucky enough that the Qckslvrslash either didn't lead enough or his speed came off quick enough, and the New Mexico just ran himself aground side on. This is really the opportunity you want. Excellent, a Citadel. That New Mexico is pretty much a sitting duck. He should be able to tank through one more volley. And you can see the Akatsuki. What is he doing? He was in the cap and sailed straight out of it. What is with people and the inability to stay in a capture point? They would have had a much bigger lead, and now they're behind, and they don't have the cap points. And with 3 minutes 30 seconds left, I really think that means the Akatsuki and the Ranger, their only way out here is to kill Bleminton. I don't think you can make up this cap point difference with the distance they are potentially away from the capture points. And it just boggles my mind. Both Bleminton's team and the enemy team made big misplays on the cap, and as a result, the game's been kind of tossed up in the air a couple times. It's almost like a game of hot potato. Bleminton's team at one point, no, we don't want it, you take it. And then Bleminton's like, no, I'm taking this, I'm not letting this go. And then the Akatsuki there just threw the game. Now, obviously, there is the chance of getting some torps in. It's going to be easy enough to keep Bleminton spotted. The enemy CV's got a lock on that. And come on, buddy, launch your fighter. You've got it. There you go. You got to get that in the air before they get close to you. And I think Bleminton's doing the smart thing. He was initially closing that Akatsuki, but he's realized, I don't have to do anything. I've got 100 and some point lead. That Akatsuki has to come after me. And my god, those bombers almost end it. He is quick on the repair party and the damage control consumable, and thankfully still had that consumable left and available, and the Akatsuki finally starts capturing it and decides to put his guns to work again. But at this point, Bleminton just has to survive for 2 minutes and they've won. You don't get enough points from a single cap in a minute. And once again, you can do the math. 3 points every 5 seconds. So, every 10 seconds, you're getting 6 points. So 36 points a minute. And, well, they're, 120 behind, so with the minute 20 remaining, because each team has one cap and now the enemy team has the extra, they're only going to close this gap by 36 points if nothing else happens, and I don't think it will. You can see the Gneisenau's AA doing a pretty decent job just slowly working through these planes. The enemy carrier clearly starting to run out because this is a much smaller bomber group than we've previously seen, only half strength. And if Bleminton's guns can get one more air kill here, there we go. Now it's just a pair of bombers. It's still a chunk of damage and a fire, but that's not death. And the Ranger, he's just somewhere around this corner. 30 seconds left. Still has the lead. Bleminton can pretty much stop. He can sail away, and they've got this. And it shouldn't have been this close in the first place. Bleminton's team, that Tirpitz and Dunkirk, should have captured Charlie. They didn't, so that gave an in for the enemy team. And then with that in, the Akatsuki sailed straight through B, didn't take it, and as a result, has given Blemington the game, and he was smart to turn around at the end there. Just run away. You've got the point lead. Make them make the play. And in that, you really saw how Brains was better than Brawn. This game was not about doing damage. It came down to that cap that Sir Blemington took. Had he not turned around and gotten Charlie, they would have been so far behind on points, they couldn't have won, and the enemy ranger would have just sailed away. And even if he could have killed the Akatsuki, it wouldn't have mattered. You have to remember to get the caps. Too many people treat it like damage and kills is all that matters. The cap points are huge. And all told, he still had a good game. 218,000 credits, 3,300 experience, Solar Warrior, Fireproof, Close Quarters Expert, Dreadnought, just shy of 100,000 damage and got 3 kills. A very respectable game. But you throw on the fact that he had the sense of mind to turn around and get the cap that 2 of his teammates abandoned seconds from taking is what won the game. And to that Tirpitz and Dunkirk, I just shake my head a little. It doesn't matter where you were on this result tree, you potentially threw that game for your team, and they made it close. Had they got that cap, it wouldn't have been close on points, and Blemington would have had an easier finish. But he still topped his team, and I don't care where he finished on this. I would have said he was the most important person on his team because he did win the game. 3 kills, a slew of planes, just reinforcing that these German battleships have good AA. And when you look at the damage, did a bunch to that New Mexico, the Fuso, finished off that Kutuzov, and got some into a couple other targets. He did manage to spread the damage around, but once again, more importantly, it was all about that one cap that he took. That is really what decided the game. And then, well, the Akatsuki not capturing B, throwing the game for his team. And all told, 121,000 credits taken home, 3,300 experience, and the same for his captain. So not a bad haul either. Anyways, thank you, Blemington, for sending this one in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you guys later.